Am I the asshole for being active early in the morning and disturbing my neighbors? I'm a single dad living in a semi-detached house. My toddler loves sleeping in. And I love sleeping. I prefer late nights and late mornings. Then I had new neighbors several months ago. They too have a toddler who constantly cries throughout the night, but it happens. Not every toddler is the same. But the man often works on call and is up throughout the night. Which means I'm waking up every time he goes to work. The woman has a 7 a.m. alarm and snoozes it for 5 minutes until 7:30. And on weekends they are up at 8 a.m. loudly talking and playing with their kid. Thankfully my kid sleeps through it. But after months of this I'm now an early bird. I go to bed early and I'm awake early. So now, I start the day at 7. Every day including weekends. I'm up and down the stairs getting stuff ready for school. I'm cleaning out my rabbit's cage. Whatever I need to do I do. I'm not going out of my way to be loud, just doing what I used to do later in the morning sooner. Of course they now have a problem with this because on the days the man has to sleep in because he was on call he can't, 'cause I'm awake. The woman on her days off is now being woken up at 7 a.m. and Side can't exactly snooze me. And on weekends when they decide to sleep in after a night out and a hangover I'm up and down the stairs. They asked me not to start my day so early. I'm waking them up. I told them it's really their fault. Before they moved in I'd be waking up much later but their alarms and loudness conditioned me to wake up early. Told them I tried speaking to them about it and they can't help it. So, am I really the asshole for something they practically created? Not the asshole. You're not going out of your way to be loud, just living your life at a reasonable time. They created the situation by being loud early in the morning themselves. You've also tried to address the issue with them previously. Not the asshole. If you spoke to them about being noisy and they dismissed you, it is hypocritical of them to complain about your noise now. Not the asshole. I think whoever made your houses out of thin paper is the real asshole here. I thought I could hear my neighbors a lot but going up and down the stairs and cleaning out a hutch are not loud activities. If they can hear that then it's not your fault, you're literally just going about your home. They need to be realistic. Not the asshole. I think you know that after typing it all out. You don't need to live your weekends in quiet just to placate them. You handled the resetting of your body clock extremely well, emo. But I also want to say my petty ass loves this outcome, tears of joy, pinched fingers. Just want to add you, European lady message to me. Hi, your neighbors were inconsiderate before, now you're being inconsiderate. Why are you going up and down the stairs early in the morning on weekends? You should stay in until a reasonable hour and stop being loud overall. European lady. So, anything from 7 a.m. onwards is completely legal. I would love to sleep in. In case you didn't read my post, I 100% slept in every day until my neighbors woke me up at 7 a.m. every morning. Now I wake up naturally at 7 a.m. Why should I have to stay in bed and waste an hour of my day for something they created? Not the asshole. They got what they gave. They didn't care when they were bothering you and wouldn't change anything, so why should you? You already were pretty much forced to adapt to their routine, which completely changed yours. I certainly wouldn't be changing your routine yet again to accommodate them. Am I the asshole for not sticking up for my boyfriend when his friends made fun of his weight? My 24F boyfriend, Steve, 28M, has always been on the chubbier side. He still is somewhat active and is not fat by any means, but definitely not thin. I used to be thin when Steve and I got together 18 months ago, but have since gained about 20 pounds. I'm still a healthy weight for my height, but not thin anymore. A couple nights ago, Steve and I were out for dinner. He told me I should watch what I eat because I'm gaining weight. I rolled my eyes and ordered a burger and fries, same thing as Steve, because I thought it was just a poorly thought out joke. But on the car ride home he told me he was concerned because I was gaining weight and becoming unhealthy and less attractive. He put it gently, but I was still upset and pointed out that he wasn't the poster child of thinness himself, but he said it's different because he's the same size he was when we got together. I told him to give it a rest and slept in the guest room that night. When I woke up the next morning, he apologized profusely and begged me to forgive him. Since he'd never messed up that bad throughout our year and a half of dating, I told him we could just move past it. I thought we had forgotten about it until last night when we were out with Steve and his friends. They were joking as male friends normally do, which means they were throwing around insults. One of Steve's friends made a silly comment about Steve's weight and suddenly they were all piling on. Yeah, Steve, you are fat, ha ha ha. Steve laughed along, but it was obvious to me that he was hurt by the comments. I thought about telling the friends to cut it out, but then remembered what Steve said to me just a few nights prior and decided he could handle a bit of playful teasing. When we got home, Steve asked me why I didn't stick up for him when I knew he was uncomfortable. I told him I thought he could handle it, given what he so comfortably said to me the other night. Steve said it was different because he didn't make fun of my weight in front of my friends and he was coming from a place of concern. He said he thought we had agreed to move past the comment he made and that what I did was petty and holding a grudge. I told him we weren't going to get anywhere with this conversation and we should take time to cool off and think. Steve booked a hotel last night and should be getting home any minute now. I'm still not sure if what I did was wrong. I talked to my sister and she said I should have joined in with Steve's friends and I wasn't mean enough, but my sister's also a lot bolder than me. If I am I should apologize when Steve gets back. Any thoughts are appreciated, because I know this will come up. I am 5 feet 6 inches and currently 155 pounds. I was 135 when Steve and I first met. Steve is 5 feet 10 inches and 210 and has been the same since we met. These are his friends. YTF would you have to defend him from his friends? BMI is a trash measure, but even by BMI standards you are just on the cusp of being technically overweight at exactly 25. Plenty of very fit people would be classed as overweight by BMI because muscle is heavier than fat. I really don't like what he said to you. I doubt health had anything to do with it when he included that he's also less attracted to you. I'll never be okay with people trying to dictate what people can or cannot eat at a restaurant. Unless someplace one day serves cocaine with a side of heroin. I have to draw the line there. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. He's a grown man and can both pick better friends or stick up for himself. If he's making you feel bad about your weight, go find someone who appreciates you. Not the asshole. One thing to consider is that his friends were teasing with their comments, but he wasn't teasing when he made hurtful comments about your weight and tried to control what you eat. He only cares about you situationally, as in, if you meet his standard of beauty. This is not a good long-term start to a relationship as your body will change with age and children. Do you constantly want to be concerned that your partner will leave if you're not physically perfect to him? I would lose 210 pounds of dead weight immediately. Not the asshole. It's incredibly self-centered to be butthurt that you didn't stick up for him when he had the audacity to tell you you were becoming unhealthy, less attractive. You could have easily joined in making fun of him, but you didn't. Your sister isn't wrong, but IDK if the relationship would be worth anything after that. You need to lose weight, is never, and I mean never, said from a point of concern about your health, with the exception of a doctor. The rest are all saying it because of looks. He can dish it out but can't take it. He expected you to mama bear him from his friends. Nope. In this house we don't do hypocritical shit. And we don't deal with other people's in-laws and friends. Not the asshole, but do you really want to be with this guy? It seems like he wants to be all dominant and controlling with you simply because his friend group has him pinned. Not the asshole. I almost agree with your sister, but no, I shouldn't. They're his friends, he can stand up for himself. Just because you're trying to forgive his comments doesn't mean he hasn't caused some damage you're still working through. I honestly wouldn't forgive those comments though, because they show how much of a hypocrite he is at the core. Am I the asshole for accidentally letting a boy in the room while my friend was naked? My class went on a school trip and we were staying in rooms with 6 people. I was in a room with my best friend and 2 other girls. The showers and bathrooms were not by the rooms but down the hall, and my best friend went there to shower and walked back to our room with just a towel wrapped around her. When she was in our room she put it away and went up into her bunk bed to get dressed, I guess. I dunno what she was doing up there because I was in the bed under hers, but she had enough time to put on a shirt. We always hung out with the kids from the other rooms and our door was never locked unless we locked it when we wanted to change, but she didn't do that. Then someone knocked on the door and I just said, yes, automatically, and a boy from our class came in and saw my friend without a shirt and immediately closed the door again. I didn't really think before answering and I didn't think she would still be naked either. She got really mad at me and insulted me and went to stay in another girl's room. Our teacher came too and I explained to her and she wasn't mad at me. The other girls from our room were on my side too because I didn't do it on purpose, and it was also her job to lock the door when she wants to change like we all do too. I apologized, but she didn't talk to me for the rest of the trip and didn't talk to me in days now even after we got home. She acts like I did it on purpose because I wanted to embarrass her, and that's probably what she told the other students as well, but it's just not true. I think it's not worth losing a friendship over, but IDK she doesn't seem to forgive me. Am I the asshole or is she being dramatic? I would forgive her too right away because it was an accident. Edit. I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm saying she can't be upset because OFC she can be, and I would be upset too about a boy seeing me naked. I'm just saying I wouldn't be this mean to her about it or try to get the whole class to be against her for something she didn't mean to do. Another edit. I never said to my friend that she can't be upset about what happened, and I didn't immediately react trying to defend myself, I just apologized. Only in the post I defended myself like that because she's also being unfair. And saying that it was an accident doesn't mean I'm saying it wasn't a mistake, but there's a difference between making a mistake on purpose and by accident. We both made a mistake, so I don't think it should cause this much problems. NTA if that was the general standard of the room. Going full no assholes here because I'm sure she's a little embarrassed by the situation, and I totally get her being upset just by the situation as a whole. Hope she gets over the embarrassment and this isn't an issue in your friendship long term. Edit. Till what no assholes here actually means here, man, facepalming. Nah, she made a mistake by not locking the door. You made a mistake allowing someone in without checking if she was still changing. You both contributed to this. But I also don't think she's being dramatic. It's pretty humiliating to have someone walk in and see you naked without her consent. Just because you'd forgive her right away doesn't mean she has to forgive you the same way. This is honestly just a natural consequences to the mistakes you both made. She didn't lock the door, so someone saw her naked. You didn't check before letting someone else in, so you lost the trust of someone. Maybe she'll get over it, maybe she won't. Either way, I don't think either of you are assholes. Nah, while I sympathize, it's still a good lesson to mind others. It's not your fault you didn't think she was still changing, but checking with her wouldn't have hurt. From her perspective, the worst part is just without her herself having any decision in it, her naked body or part of it was revealed to a person outside of her control. Yes, she should have locked the door, but that's also the reason why you still knock. She carried the biggest damage out of this situation, so I think it's fair that she feels wronged and is sad, mad. Give her room and time to calm down and talk to her once she seems to have slept over it. Everyone has their own boundaries, and I don't think it's dramatic since she probably is just mainly sad that she lost the control over who can see her naked body and not the asshole. The moment she heard the knock, she could have said, 1 minute, or covered herself with her blanket. That takes a second. When I read the title I thought you got up, went to the door and opened it without looking around, but that wasn't the case. Just an accident. She's taking the embarrassment out on you. No one's wrong here, just explain to her it was just automatic and apologize anyway. You're the asshole. It's a shared room, so you check the status of your roommates before giving permission to come in. It's a shared room and shared decision, not just yours to make. Saying that she had enough time to put on a shirt is not your call. It's not the end of the world, and it would be silly for your teacher to be angry with you for a mistake, but admitting it would have been better if you would have checked with your roommate first is the least you can do. Am I the asshole for telling my cousin that it's her fault her patient may regress in her treatment? Hi everyone, I need some judgment on my situation. Every year, my 30F extended family gets together and we have a family picnic. It's a lot of fun, and we typically have a great time. However, it was different this time around. My cousin, 32F, was in attendance, and typically whenever we see her, she likes to rant to us about her job, as she works as a nurse. Here's the story that she told this time around. A woman came into the hospital and needed an IV placed. The problem was that said patient was very needle phobic and let my cousin know. Patient then proceeded to do coping mechanisms that she had learned, which was closing her eyes, deep breathing, holding her sister's hand and crying like a baby. My cousin's opinion on this situation was that it was totally ridiculous and she let her patient have it. In her words, she sternly told her patient to grow up, and that her antics were ridiculous. Patient's sister explained that she had a genuine phobia and to be patient with her, but cousin responded that it wasn't her job to deal with anybody's irrational fears, and not to waste anybody's time. Cousin placed the IV in while patient was hysterical, and left the room. Later, patient's sister requested to not have my cousin as her nurse again. At some point, cousin was confronted by the sister, who called her a nasty troll for talking to patient in that way, and berating somebody who was going through a hard time facing her fears. My cousin doubled down and told her that if the patient's fear is that bad, then she would need to seek therapy for it and not waste resources. Here's where I become very concerned. Patient's sister says that her sister has been in CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, for a little while now to manage her phobia and medical anxiety, and had been making good progress. Now patient is refusing to seek future medical treatment, and says that she would never open up about her fear again and is potentially regressing in her treatment, which she blamed my cousin for. I'm a therapist and I specialize in CBT. Many of my patients have phobias and medical anxiety. I've seen firsthand how debilitating it can be. I've had few patients in the past who've regressed because of traumatic moments, and it seems highly likely that this would happen to the patient in this story. Well, my cousin proclaimed that it was ridiculous for the patient's sister to claim that it's her fault for the patient regressing in her treatment. I told my cousin that it kind of was her fault. I told her that she chastised someone that was doing her best to overcome a struggle, and because of that, the patient would potentially never seek medical care again, or be honest with her medical team ever again. Fighting ensued. Now, some family members are on my cousin's side, saying that she was doing her job, and that I made her feel bad, while others are on my side, saying that I was in the right, and had the expertise to call her out. Am I the asshole? Today I learned a nurse's job is to mock and belittle patients that are crying. Not the asshole, but I have a running theory about nurses. Half of them are mean girls that peaked in high school. Not the asshole. This cousin responded that it wasn't her job to deal with anybody's irrational fears. That is precisely one of the jobs you have in nursing. Florence Nightingale, she is not. My advice to you is to encourage your cousin to explore another career. Nursing doesn't seem to fit her all that well. Maybe the hangperson at the prison may be more her speed. Not the asshole. I am a nurse and this behavior is 100% unacceptable, unprofessional and grounds for disciplinary actions. Whatever her thought may have been about a patient, and even the best of us let our judgment slip sometimes, she needed to keep it to herself. There is no excusing her behavior, and if she can't see it was wrong, it's scary to think what she might think is appropriate. Not the asshole. As a therapist specializing in CBT, you have the knowledge and experience to understand how phobias and medical anxiety can affect people. It's disheartening that your cousin didn't show any empathy in this situation, especially as a healthcare provider who should be compassionate and understanding. Not the asshole. Hopefully you won't have to worry about it much longer. If this patient and future patients continue to complain about her lack of compassion and completely inappropriate treatment of them, she won't have a nursing job much longer. I'd recommend she look into other areas without direct patient care. Not the asshole. And your cousin was rude and uncaring and opposite of what a nurse should be. I'd hate to have your cousin as my nurse and it is her fault for how she treated the patient who she was supposed to care for, not abuse and shout at. Your cousin needs a refresher on care and compassion.